Well,
anyway.
let's see if our casters agree with our logic as well. We've got Gabby and Tom waiting over to get into this game. How are you guys doing this morning?
Doing fantabulously, at least on this end. I hope you're feeling that way too.
Yeah, I'm not bad. I'm not bad. I'm feeling pretty good.
Yeah, and I think even though yesterday was Friday the 13th, we're getting the weirdness today. Twitch chat, desk on the same page, but I know we're ready to get into this first map.
Well, I'm not going to keep you any further. Let's get into this one.
All right, it's so exciting getting into best of 3 territory because all the just different aspects that you have to consider as a team. Are you going more towards big?
Yes, definitely. I think if they lose this match, then that would show some almost turmoil in this team, because they have to be one at least getting to like the playoffs, and it's going to be tough for them considering how their group is currently set up. Like they'll have to basically beat the team that beat them earlier in the tournament if they want to get through. But at the same time, I just think that for them, going out in last place would just be an atrocity. Like they have to aim higher than that. Their ranking at the moment, okay, it's probably not their biggest focus, but it's not enough for a team of their caliber, or the players of their caliber especially. And then you're just moving against who they're actually playing, like a team that has only had, what, like 10 to 12 matches, not played much on LAN. They've got like a mixture of some players who've achieved quite a lot and some have not really done too much. And in recent form, we haven't seen much from them at all. So if Big go ahead and lose this game, then I'm going to be more questioning Big. And sure, maybe Movistar Riders step up to the plate today and show some good stuff. That would be great, but I just don't think that they are near the caliber of what Big at least should be.
So what do you think it would take for Movistar Riders, not necessarily to get the overall victory, but at least push it to a map number 3?
I think there's possibilities, at least in the second map. I think in the first one, like Mirage has been so good for Big. I think out of the last 8 games, they've lost once. So it's like, if they manage to take that map away, then sure, again, that's very promising for them, but I would more be looking at what Big did wrong. And also, like, even what Potter was saying, 3 reasons, the big 3. Like, there are 3 players within this roster who could go into the other roster and easily be the best player on their team. So, like, if you manage to outdo all 3 of those players, you have to have done something right, but they have to have done something wrong.
Yeah, that's always a tough position to be in when you have to capitalize upon the mistakes of your enemy, but that is what Movistar Riders are about to try to do in their first map against Big here on Mirage. The team that loses this best of 3 will be going home for good, so there's a lot on the line to try and keep yourself from being that last place spot. For good. Never welcome again in Spain.
We lock them in their homes.
Yeah, we just push them right out the front doors after this. Say, hey, can't even grab your stuff, it's fine, you're gone, find a plane, we'll see what you can do.
Hey Lord, you're a bit more harsh than I remember yesterday. I think yesterday on Friday the 13th, you were being a little bit more careful. Now you're talking about forcing people to stay in their homes.
Best of 3, bruh. Bring it to a whole nother level. At least there's a hotel they can go and chill in the meantime. No chilling here in the first round, though. See who can walk away with the pistol.
Ooh.
And Xantares, that was a nice headshot. Smack dab to kick things off. Steal with an answer, though. So we're starting to get things rolling, and Movistar Riders are feeling the full brunt force of Big as they just power through this.
Yeah, they managed to get so much map control early on in this round that it just made things really tough for the CT side to deal with. Tabson maybe zoned out a little bit there, facing the wrong way, giving an opening back into Easter, who is going to be able to turn this into a 2 versus 2. His teammate's fairly low, so he has to do the majority of the work at least, and all Big really have to do is survive at this point. But Low is going to find another one. It's left all onto Tizzy, and this has started to slip away from the side, but with a nice shot, he's at least going to buy a little bit of extra time. I think that's still going to be the defusal, at least going the way of Movistar Riders. And I don't really know how they managed to throw that round away. It seemed like they had everything in check.
Oh, wowee. If you look over on the Big side, everyone was pulling their weight. 4 of them walking away with a frag, but Movistar Riders end up clearing it out. Difficult situation, I guess, walking into that site. You already had the 2 CTs that were kind of spread across the pillars. Lowell ended up picking one up, as you can see in the replay right there off the bat, but it wasn't enough to keep Movistar's from rolling this into something else. We'll see if they can follow up, because that's what it comes down to, right? Yes, you walk away with the pistol round, but now that you've got some FAMAS, you got some M4s on the board, are you going to make something happen from this? Alex is the first one to get some shots right into his shoulders, but it's not too much to slow them down just yet.
Yeah, this is actually a very good buy coming in as well. Oh, nice positioning from Easter, though. That's going to be a rifle already into their hands, or an extra one, I should say. He's juggling it. He's juggling it back so that they can't actually retrieve that weapon. Maybe expecting that a player or 2 on the other side has pistols, but no, this is how the economy works at the moment. You get a bomb plant, you get a few kills, and it sets you up nicely to have a lot of money going into this next round. Tabson, he's looking for that trade, but as we've seen already, the Galil has been retrieved. There's going to be a fairly even battle on the other side, and they're desperately looking for that trade because Big, they're going into this without any utility. So they can't really afford to be a man down. Of course, the CTs have used the majority of theirs at this point, and with the late smoke going down, they're going to be calling for some rotations and gaining a lot of map control. You can see Steel as well, pushing all the way up the top of mid. They should know exactly where this is going at this point.
45 seconds on the clock to make a play right now, and the T's are still currently stacked within these apartments. About to come down on balcony, but Easter is here, lying in wait. Zentaris goes for the entry, taken out, but Tabson is here for the follow-up with the Galil. So 3 still standing for Big. Lots of CTs that are going to be rotating over onto this site. Mopaz with the FAMAS. And Tabson picks up another frag for himself. They're still lower on numbers in this opposition, though, so they're going to have to be careful in their rotation. Steal right here from the apartments, getting that great angle, but ends up getting sought out as well. Alex to finish it off, and that's Movistar Riders capitalizing upon round number 2.
Yeah, I like that. They basically just traded really effectively off every single kill. Like, there was never really a point in this round where it seemed to get out of control. The initial aggression off the back of the MP9 nets them a rifle, and also it seemed like from that moment on, Big were just trying to get back into the round. It never seemed like they had any real control. It was like, okay, we're just trading back to an even scenario, and then the CT side will find another kill. So great work from them. Of course, now we see Big actually just having to take a bit of a hit. They're going to attempt to get a bomb plant down and just fight from there. You can see it'll be the waterfall coming out of the palace, but there's 2 players here, one of them in the sandwich. That's going to make this really tough for the side of Big, and what the Molotov's actually going to be thrown in to clear him out. Not a bad idea. Problem is, though, there's still plenty of players to deal with.
Yeah, putting that sandwich on the fryer worked out for a second, but Tizian here still just standing in his lonesome directly in the right there. Don't reload, you're giving it away, bro. There's the knife shot, and Tizian says, you know what, I'm going to go through this with some style before I go down. Movistar Riders still walk away with the victory there, but what an exciting moment in the end.
That's so unlucky as well, because if he doesn't reload, he has no idea where he is, but Tizian's just going, oh, yep, he's there.
Here's a little sound snippet for you. Oh, man. And hey, you know what? Big, they knew they were going into that round with very little that they were working with, and now in round number 4, a bit better equipped to make something happen here with a complete Krieg lineup in addition to that op that's on Smooya. So early ops on both sides. And even an AUG picked up for Lowell, who I believe was also favoring that yesterday, if I recall correctly.
Yeah, it's still relatively popular, but I think it's more situational now, which is kind of what it should be. Smooya, that orb's basically in his hands because of that knife kill, by the way. Like, he would have had to drop, well, basically all the utility he has. So that knife kill's played a big part, got them the opener, and already we're starting to see a much better looking Big now that they've got the rifle in their hands. They've picked up the 2 initial kills, and still, they seem fairly dedicated to going to this B side. There's 2 players here. There's a chance for Movistar Riders, but they have to go, well, Big.
Yep, and committing to it, Mopaz goes down, and you even have that op that rotated over towards Market. Smooya, though, putting that rifle to the best of his abilities. 4 still standing for Big, and now it's just one lonely opera on the opposite side. Luckily able to put some money in his pocket in the process with a flick on the side of the pillars. That's going to make you feel pretty good. Eventually gets answered, but that's something to be proud of.
Yeah, that was a 4v1 and he was surrounded. The fact that he gets 3 kills is, well, questions need to be asked there. That got way too close for Big. That's one of those scenarios where I think if Smooya is a little bit more patient, they just surround him, and that's a very, very easy kill for them. Because you look at the player coming through the market, that's who gets the kill in the end. So they literally just had to wait 5 seconds, and they kill him without any problems at all. So that's actually going to cause a rebuy. Like, Movistar Riders are going to buy off of this because they know how much damage they've just done to Big's economy, and if they win this round, they really are into the driver's seat early on in this match.
While Big did pick up the round, that's the thing. Those small different decisions that happen there towards the end of round number 4 are enough for Movistar Riders to not feel like this is getting away from them just yet. With that, Sabzin sees the hop over from Alex towards jungle and starts to clear out the palace too. So this A side's getting cracked open a tad. There's still one CT with Easter standing over by Ticket, but he gets his ticket revoked in this scenario. So Big, much more confident in their movement of this bomb.
Yeah, this is more similar to last round. A fairly dominant start, all of it off the back of Tabson as well, which when you talk about the sort of big 3, he's one of them that he can very, very easily take over a match. So And that has to be something that Movistar need to be aware of. And if he's hitting his shots, I genuinely don't think there's anything they can do, which it sounds a little bit harsh, but that is just the fact of this match. So there is some real talent on that big roster. This round, at least, has been utterly dominant. Not even a point of damage done. Steel, well, he might be about to change that. He saw the barrel of the rifle, so he does know that Zontares is around this angle at least. And should be able to get himself a kill, an AK into his hands. Again, it's just coming down to how much damage they can do more than anything else. And the fact is, the bomb's actually planted on the other side of the map. But again, though, a couple of kills. Sure, it doesn't really matter in this round for Big because they're going to be facing off against what is basically an eco in the next, but hey, if they can continue to make things costly when they finally do win a round, they'll be in a much better position. But this was just clean. And I actually think this is mainly based off the smoke that was thrown into middle. I think that was meant to be one that covers off the connector. Instead, it landed just to the right, and tabseN's just able to walk in. And that small mistake, but I think it cost them massively.
Yep, while Movistar Riders were picking the other angles, fully capitalizing upon that moment. And if you look towards the end of that round too, Steel able to pick up a couple kills for himself. Looking at yesterday's matchup, we saw a lot of that same scenario where towards the end of a round he can get somewhat of a cleanup, but it wasn't enough to secure the round victories. Yes, Movistar Riders were able to get off to a good start here, putting 3 into their pocket, but nonetheless, that's not how you end up racking them up if we end up seeing that trend once more, with Steel putting down the firepower but needing some more execution.
Well, at least this time we have seen a better start from Easter as well. He's currently 9 and 5, so it isn't just Steel having to try and carry his team on his back, but oh, this is interesting. Nice flashbang. Already going to get them a kill. Easter again. There you go. He's already managed to, and Smooya dinked up. He has to just flee the scene, not wanting to give an AWP over to his opposition. The bomb, in the meantime, is going to make its way into the B site. Smooya just about fades away through the smoke. He's getting tagged. He's on 2 HP.
Ooh, that was a lot of pistol damage. Unfortunately, unable to clean it off, but nonetheless, Smooya is going to be in a difficult situation. Bomb's been planted because of that super commitment from Movistar Riders over on Catwalk, and it'll take some time for them to rotate back. There's still one CT, and that's Smooya waiting over in the apartments, and it looks like Movistar is going to try and entrench upon that territory, but Easter picks it up to clean it up, and now we'll have to see where they go from here.
Yeah, it's just going to be the same. They don't have time to get back into the site, kill 2 people, and defuse the bomb, so they've managed to get an AWP, an AK, and an SG out of this round, which is, well, it's amazing to be able to do that with just USPs, a strong flashbang as well that got them the majority of the kills. This is more than a successful round. Good work from Tizian at least to make things that little bit more costly. Should be able to retrieve an AK as well, though he doesn't. But again, it's another round that, although it goes the way of Big, there's been damage done, there's been cost created, and the bank of Big could be a hell of a lot bigger if it wasn't for some of the shots being hit, well, by this man on your screen at the moment. 3 kills.
If you're looking at what it'll take for Movistar Riders to try and run away with this map, because obviously the devs seem to be pretty much in agreement that Big was going to take this away, it seems like it's this slow and steady taking it round by round. It's difficult to win out just directly in the duels against people like tabseN. So if you can at least begin to continue getting these trades back and forth, not necessarily clean wipes, and start filling your bank more and more, that could be enough. But nonetheless, it's still really early into this half to make any conclusions about how it will continue. And the action over onto the B site, utility being drawn out to cut off any of the openings for anyone to rotate towards this. And here it begins to fall. Next goes down at the hand of Steel. Tizian is there with the punishment. Alex over from Marcus starts to shoot through the smoke as he's been cut off as well, but he's got some backup here too in that same location from Market. A peek through the window closes that door. tabseN falls, 8 and 14 HP for Zontares and Tizian. A lot of pressure on them to try and hold over onto the site and attempt to go for the plant. There's the plant. So they do get that money out of it, but Movistar Riders coming up clean for a 4-3.
Yeah, that was really nice for them. They just didn't give any space over to Big. They made sure they were super quick to get in on the retake. They didn't even have the bomb down by the time the pick went in, and dropping the bomb early meant that it got quite messy for Big trying to retrieve that. It's also quite interesting to me the German side have actually been very focused on the B side, which is not something you see too much in Mirage. Like, the A site is definitely where you see the majority of the setups, and the B site is normally thrown in a few times throughout the map because it is quite tough to break in. Granted, they have been very good at actually getting into the site. It's just, well, this time it got a little bit too messy for them. Focused in, Smooya, not going to realize the man pushing. Well, already an early couple of picks. Easter is just killing it at the moment, 15 and 5. And while only a pistol and a MAC-10 left, this force buy investment is not working. This is so aggressive. Almost gets all of them, but will hand an AWP over to Next, and there's maybe a little bit of a chance. He actually ends up with a MAC-10. Maybe not the weapon he wanted, but even still, Movistar 5-3, continuing in this map. And hey, so far they're looking pretty damn good.
All right, and you said if they were going to be able to take him out, this would be the likely one for them to do it.
No, the next one. That's the surprise.
Next one.
This is the one that should be dominant for Big. They have like an 85% win rate on this map.
That's right, that's right. A little mix up there. Yeah, and I think that makes sense, especially because between these two, it seems like Big's execution is typically going to be stronger in the head-to-head, and on somewhere like Mirage, you really have to think about the actual strategies you're doing to break into those sites. But even when they did go for A the one time, it was only because Tabson was able to crack it open with his initial kills, and they rotated away from their commitment to B. And still right now, they've positioned themselves onto Catwalk and throwing down the smokes to block off that window and the passageway over from Connector. Easter is really starting to heat up on this op, and he is letting the opposition know. As another one goes down. Steel's also there with the M4 for this commitment to start cleaning them off, and Big are just losing one by one. Zantares still managed to show out yesterday, but it's not enough to go ahead and run away with this round. So Movistar Riders have officially doubled the round victories of Big at this point.
Yeah, they're doing really well. That round, of course, was only pistols, and I don't want to get too ahead of myself, especially with the main reason they're in the lead is because one of their players currently has 19 kills in 9 rounds, which is literally over 2 kills a round. That is ridiculous. So if he can keep that up, he may break a record, but I don't know if that's possible. Like, it's very, very tough to just keep going the way he is. It's going to be another pistol round by, actually, from Big. Still unable to afford a proper purchase, and this is just going to give even more money over to the opposing side. Smooya again is able to get one, and, well, caught out this time. Easter's aggression is going to be punished. Bomb planted, that's already a minor success for Big. Now, holding on to this round, they need to do something pretty damn impressive, but they do have the players to do it. Smooya now left alone, 1v3 clutch on the D.
Skills rotated towards the back to try and get towards this site, and that's going to be the finish off here. So when you look at these pistol rounds, though, I think one thing to consider is, yes, they should go in the direction of Movistar Riders, but as you said, with Easter really starting to heat up and showing their accuracy and their ability to just kind of roll off of that momentum, it gives good promise for when they do go against these purchases that Big are about to make.
Well, the other thing as well is, like, these sort of early rounds are definitely going to be riling them up. Like, you see this a lot with sort of Latin teams, especially when they get fired up, like the Brazilians, the Spanish, they're in that similar boat of they will just start playing better. They've got the crowd behind them, that's for sure, which definitely wasn't something that was really there yesterday. Of course, it is a Saturday today, and they are absolutely killing it at the moment. They're winning every single opening duel. Big are looking absolutely out of this at the moment. And while with 3 players already after 25 seconds, it's looking really bad for Big.
Really rough position to be in. And at this point, too, you have to be worrying about the fact that Movistar Riders are looking in great form. You're talking about the way they heat up. One of the many reasons I love my LATAM fam watching them because of that fury that ends up coming through. Brazil as well. And that's what can make it sometimes unpredictable in trying to assume who's going to walk away with the map, because sometimes it just takes that spark from the lighter for things to really get off to the start.
Oh yeah, as a football fan, I've always loved watching like the Spanish teams, the Brazilian teams, just because of the straight, well, passion that comes from all of the fans. And I think we're definitely witnessing that here. And the players themselves obviously wanting to put on a show. It's going to come back down to this B site once again. It has been decent, at least for Big, being able to find the entries. But there's already 2 players here. One of them is Easter with that AWP, who has already managed to make it to 20 kills. We'll see if he's going to add a little bit more to the tally.
I'm sure he's going to try to do so. There's an attempt, but a difficult patch across that cross, but Mopaz ends up picking one up from Movistar Riders, and it's just Zantares, but he's putting in that work. We know that he has the ability to try and close out in these clutch situations. It's just a bit difficult, especially here on the site, against all that Movistar Riders are working with. And with that, they bring this to 8.
I'm surprised. Like, I think as said at the beginning of the match, I think a lot of this will come down to like what iteration of Big we're actually going to see today. And in terms of their star power, we haven't seen a lot of it. Like tabseN had a round or two. Smooth's been able to do a little bit of damage. Like the first round they managed to win with him getting an AWP. But since then, it has been all Movistar riders. They've won 5 rounds in a row. As mentioned, we've seen Easter killing it, but the rest of the team are not exactly playing bad. It's just they don't actually get the chance to get the kills because he's already running at his opposition. Like that round, some of the plays he are making are insane. He ran through a Molotov and tried to no-scope someone without stopping. Like, it didn't work, but by that point, the round was basically over because of the other stuff he had been able to get away with. And I think Big are really struggling to counter that. Of course, loss bonus now fully built up, so we are going to see them come in with a buy, although the AWP is going to be missing on Smooya. On the CT side, they've already got a bank to buy back up even if things go wrong.
They've got the bank, they've got the stolen weapons, and they've got the heart to back it all up at this point. And here you already see it right off the bat. Alex sitting in that window, clearing out across mid, utility to help that out too. And Easter is back on this op. Very comfortable on this weapon throughout this so far here in round number 12. Steals rotated over towards window 2. And there you go. The combination of the two is enough to get some more under their belt. And it's just next. Movistar Riders continuously bringing this down to 1 or 2 players on the side of Big within the first minute of the round.
I would say even they have got 2 opening picks in 2 rounds in a row within 15 to 20 seconds. Like, this has just been really aggressive Counter-Strike coming out from them. The fights in middle, they're winning every single time. They're not giving that space over to Big whatsoever. And that was where we actually saw one of the initial rounds go the way of Big, was tabseN able to get into the connector. So what have they done? Okay, you can't have the connector anymore. Mid is ours, you're going to have to try and do something else. And most of the time, that's either resorted in Big being so far down they can't win the round, or a default into the B side. And it seems like Movistar are more than prepared for anything the Big are going to do. And we're back to it again. An attempted force through Easter now already, and waiting, he does get sneaked by Zontaras. Actually, Zontaras gets the second. There's possibilities now, but again, it's one of these pistol rounds where there's still a big advantage here for the Riders, no matter what's happening. How is this falling apart, though? How have they managed to get this into a 2v2?
Was not expecting that, that's for sure, especially the way this round started. But there's the even out, so tabseN in the 1v2 currently. Bomb is over, and mid Movistar Riders just walk away with it. 10 into the double-digit territory with only 2 rounds to go in this half.
Yeah, they're playing amazing, and Big don't have a response at the moment. I'd like to see some sort of proper A execute from Big, because I don't think we've had a single one. Like, I don't even think they've even tried to go A. Like, they planted the bomb there once, but as we've already mentioned, that was because tabseN got a 3K just pushing in through connector. And the fact that something that is so almost bread and butter to this map has not been done once is a bit of a worry for a side that has so much experience and, well, players who've been around for such a long time. Like, to not go for what is one of the most standard strategies and just keep fighting middle and losing every single time. It's the same again. They're getting slaughtered.
Working out for them, that's not what it's doing right now for Big. And yeah, you can say one thing, oh, it's difficult to execute your strategies when you're outnumbered, which has been the case for so many of these rounds, but you can see by their initial rotation that they still do just want to commit over to the B site. Next was the only one sent over to A, Zontaras. He's still in good form, picking up some frags for himself here within this half, but you gotta have it add up to something for some sort of execution. And there's an execution onto Easter, so at least you take off the 23 kill CT player that's been just rocking this map.
Oh, they're gonna walk into him. Nice shot from Next. That was so important. That could have completely turned the round as all the players were going in that direction. Alex is gonna be hit with the AWP, but can't connect the shot on the cross, and is gonna be battled by Zontaras. It seems like they're just going into a full pug mode at this point. Just try and out-aim your opposition, which thus far has not been working. Big, though, finally with an afterplant situation. The CT side, of course, are going to be going for this. They have money to buy into the next round anyway, so they might as well try and steal it.
Awaiting on their entry because of the utility thrown out by the T side. And Zontaras is the one to find the first to attempt to rotate outside of market. It's very clear to Big that Lowell is still hanging around in that direction too, which means that they can just set up at all the entry points and keep their eyes in that direction. This should be going over to them.
Well, even still, that's an AWP actually stolen away, so money-wise, I think the T should be able to afford one anyway. Yeah, Zontaras will be able to drop one in the next round if they do still want to bring that in onto Sevilla, which I imagine they will. But yeah, it's taken a long time. What, 7 rounds in a row for the Movistar riders. And it was only really off the back of Zontaras able to get a good triple. And we saw that a bit yesterday, where he had some massive hero plays. Maybe this will be the one that gives them a bit of a lifeline, a 10-5. It's workable. I think too much less, and you are going to be very, very reliant on the pistol round going your way. But yeah, this has been a big surprise, and I'm still blown away by the fact that we haven't just seen a standard A smoke setup come out from Big, because it's... I know it's obviously common, and maybe they were trying to catch the opposition off guard by going B so often, but if it's not working, go back to the defaults, go back to the basic strategies that everybody knows will get you a bomb plant. And again, we haven't seen a single after plant position on A where the round wasn't already done.
And in round 15, you only have one more opportunity to try and make a play over on this T side before switching up your strat entirely. This time around, they aren't moving the bomb through the apartments as they have in the past, but they've dropped it and trying to clear out mid, where they have been struggling against the setup of Movistar riders. Fortunately for Big, though, they are going in with the numbers. There's just a lot of a spread over on the CT side.
They're going to split. They're going to split towards B. They get the opener as well onto Mopos. Now, there should be actually a very quick flank coming in from Alex. He's in behind them. He's going to join them as, like, the sneaky member in the squad. Like, don't worry, guys. Yeah, I'm one of you. I'm one of you guys. Just keep watching everything else. Keep looking at the other positions. There's actually 2 as well. So even if Alex makes a mistake here, he can die. They're not going to expect another player. There's no way. You can see Tizian's already turned around and started looking in the other direction. And now Steel, he's going to do it again. The exact same play, but actually, he doesn't get the kill. He's given a lifeline. The bomb goes down. They're going to try and fight back in the other direction. Taps them with 2 impactful headshots. Steel left in a 1v3 clutch. He manages to get that first kill. There's still 2 more.
A heavy impact made, and Steel has found himself in this position time and time again. 82 and 11 HP respectively for the enemy team, but Tabson goes ahead and says this is going to be ours. 10-5 on the scoreboard for our first half. When we return, we'll be switching things up. Welcome back, everyone. We have indeed gone down the chimney with good St. Nick and back onto Mirage for our second half of this first map between Movistar Riders and Big. And I must say, Movistar Riders sure have surprised a lot. Maybe not the fellow Spanish audience out there, but many of us over here in the casting booth and the desk.
Yeah, no, they were fantastic in the first half. Very dynamic with their aggression. Different iterations of mid pushes and really challenging versus Big, not playing scared by any stretch of the imagination. I have to say I'm thoroughly impressed, so looking forward to this second half. We'll see what Steel has on that T side. Zontaras and Smooya, though, already combining to do a lot of early aggression. It's going to be up to the T's to turn it round.
Slowly trying to lead in with that firepower, and that's one way to kick things off for Big as they've brought this to the 4v2. The thing is, even with 10 rounds over for Movistar Riders, Big 5, enough of a cushion where if they do perform in the form that many have expected them to, it might be enough. But Alex there with the P250, grab one for himself.
Zontaras clearly feeling confident, just going to be straight up fighting them in mid next. There to join him and just using the range. It's only really Alex who has the range to actually fight back with this. And, well, he is the last one standing. Still has the Kevlar flashbang as well, just to try and leave them blind. A low player as well, so there's a possibility for him here. But the bomb being dropped out in the open, the CT side realizing that the time is starting to tick away. And I think they know that if they just group up, they just sit to one of the sites, the chance of them actually taking the victory and getting the bomb down is slim to none.
Yep, only 25 seconds to go as Alex rotates over towards A. Tizian is waiting there, kind of expecting for this play to be made and attempted cash grab.
It's just mean. Like, to sit in this position, I think Alex is never going to expect it. If he goes for a default plant, he's 100% dead. And yeah, Tizian's just going to... Well, even now he knows it doesn't mean anything. He's run out of time, just needs to die. So yeah, good work from Big in the end. Some great early openers. I do think this CT side should work better for them, even if it's like the synergy of the team or some of the calls may not necessarily have been on point in the first half. When it comes to the second half, you have the likes of Zontaras, who's going to be getting aggressive and fighting into mid. You will see him pick out that connector and just spray people down. in certain aspects of the round. Smooya on the CT side, I expect a lot from him as well. And Tabson's, well, Tabson's just Tabson. So I think that this is only going to get more and more difficult for the Movistar riders. At the same time, they surprised me in the first half. I hope they can do it in the second.
Big are committing here with the MP9 lineup for most of them. Xantares with his kills is able to pick up something with a bit more firepower.
Some oomph.
Yeah, a little pizzazz for himself. He deserves it. I think he's been doing pretty great even in the first half. Opens it up here in the second round of the second half, but still some standing over for Movistar riders. They are working just with the pistols, so they're not expecting to get the round victory, but can hopefully just pick up some kills for themselves and extend their pockets a tad.
Well, that's the thing in this round as well, is going into the next, if there's any rebuys, even like 1 or 2, it's going to make things quite troublesome for Big. They've gone for heavy on the SMGs, so I'm kind of interested to see how they'll actually opt to play the next round, if they'll go for like an aggressive mid play, try and just take some map control away from their opposition, or maybe double up on ramp. But the more players are killed, the more they have to repurchase some of these weapons. The chances of this being like a bonus round and having an extra buy after that becomes fairly slim. So even just a kill or 2 more for Movistar riders would be a big success in this round. However, a lot easier said than done when you don't have any armor.
Tabson is taking on 3 of the T's currently. Manages to get 2, but has to back off for his own safety. Lowell is in pursuit, finds him right through. And there you have it. Interesting interaction there in the final moments. But Big still walk away.
If I'm Xantares in that position, I'm like punching a hole in my desk. Like, you're literally holding the angle onto a tiny little circular window where a guy with no armor and a Glock is peeking, and he double dinks you and you die. Like, that must be so tilt-worthy. Even still, they're going to come in with a strong buy in this round. They've actually upgraded into an extra rifle and an AWP for Smooya, so the buy is not bad. But as said, in terms of bonus cash, if this round goes wrong, they're pretty much back to eco, and that is not the start they were hoping for.
Ooh, you have that heavy investment, and in the end, your investment was wrong. Wrong stock to be putting that into, I guess, for this round. But Movistar riders are probably feeling better to know now they don't have to deal with that long-range Smooya where he loves to be. But Big still, even if they do end up dropping this, like you said, they have the weaponry to pick up a bit more cash and kind of get that padding for their economy, because they don't want to get off on a bad run, since Movistar riders still do have 10 of the rounds under their belt from that first half. A potential A play here too, as most of them are stacked over onto the T steps, but Tizian knows this is a likely play, sees the foot, foot going all the way under those arches. Tizian manages to get one before he gets traded out and feeds that information to the rest, but here comes the utility for Movistar riders to make a play for this. Xantares up on the stairs and the firepower comes on down as he is knocked right off of that bench. Mopaz getting the credit for that one. It's only Nex and Tabson, and Nex is over here towards the CT steps, but Alex, with the smoke over by jungle and connector, has his eyes in that direction. Tabson peeking over up the steps, and Movistar riders are going to have a little difficulty moving into this until they can at least take one from the cross, but Tabson is the one to find the wall bang in the process.
Yeah, he's made this round possible. It was looking like a completely done situation, but instead he drops the bomb. He also brings it into a 2 versus 2. It means that Nex doesn't actually really have to peek here, and he's going to reposition. Now, the bomb should be planted at least, so that will turn it into a retake scenario, but I like this from Tabson as well. They've seen him over to the connector. They know that there's someone there. The other player was also in towards CT. Instead, he's doubled all the way back around, but it seems like the T's are aware of this. This duel should decide the round, and, well, that is Tabson going down. A great read coming out from Lowell, and now Nex, 1 versus 2, not a lot of time on the clock, manages the first. Not quite the second, though. Still, he holds on. He gives them their 11th round, and while now that monetary problems start to begin for the CT side, as I said before, they invested heavily into the AWP. They bought up some extra rifles after losing those players. And so, hey, Nex can buy, Tizian can buy. The other 3, not so much.
So close for Nex to go and try and close that out too, but in the end, they did have a good setup there, but once Tabson was taken out, it was just too much difficulty for him to go into that T-cross that was set up. So now Movistar riders are working against a pistol round for Big. Full AK lineup except for one. Let's see what they can make of this, which I'm sure they'll feel pretty good about. And there you take Nex off. Put this into your favor. They lose Easter in the process, but the numbers still continue to go onto their side as Alex with a little peek here, a little peek there, and umps up with that punch.
Yeah, again, this is a round where Big have pretty much written it off. They'll get 2,400 into the next. They can even drop an AWP back over to Smooya if they like, and it's not going to be too bad of a situation. It won't be perfect, but it's at least something going into the next round. They have rifles once again. Obviously, in the previous, only one player actually survived for the Movistar Riders, so their finances are not going to be like off the charts just yet. They're not like stacking paper, so there's still potential here for Big, but being 5 rounds behind, only 4 needed for Movistar Riders to take their map. And even though the other map, again, we still look towards Big being the better team, if Movistar Riders go in with a victory on Mirage, onto their map choice, momentum in their favor, crowd behind them, I'm not going to be doubting that they'd be able to take the second. That's the thing. I feel like Big, they could still win the second, but I think if they lose this first, that's just going to put so much doubt in their mind. This should be the surefire victory for them.
And while things have gone better for them here in the second half, it's just the 2-2 back and forth as far as round victories. You have to end up quicking the pace past that if you want to walk away with the overall win. So we'll see what they can make of it here with a bit more firepower for themselves, but not too much utility. Already having to expel some to try and prevent A player, at least read some information from the T side. Everyone except for Alex is over towards the A site too. Xantares ends up going to the wayside, so Movistar Riders have committed themselves onto the A site, but Nex and Tizian are working over from the CT cross. A ticket punched again. Here's the trade through the smoke. Nex sends the bullets, and Tabson starts to step on forward for a bit of a rotation, but these smokes are keeping them off of this vision, and Mopaz is here.
I think they're going to save.
Yeah,
they don't have a kid, they've got no utility, so getting back into these angles is just going to be impossible. So yeah, Movistar Riders, they've got themselves another round, and hey, it almost seems like doing an A execution can actually work sometimes.
What do you know?
Yeah, I am still kind of in shock with the fact that Big didn't do that all the way through the first half. Like, it's kind of mental, because it's so standard within Counter-Strike. Like, I'm not questioning the fact that they know how to do it. I'm just questioning the fact that the call was never made to do it. And you can almost see like the benefit of it there. They had the smoke down, they get the opening pick, they fall back into after plant positions, and based off just the money that was there for Big, they can't afford to go for that round. 3 rounds is all the Movistar Riders need. And then they steal this first map away.
Maybe Big can try and run away with something here, especially since they decided to save so they wouldn't find a situation again where Smooya loses that op before he can have any impact and build the bank a tad. But it is round 21, just as you said, 3 rounds for Movistar Riders before they can find an overall victory, and they do have the utility advantage once more, which they will start to try and read some information over on mid, but Tabson puts the numbers into their favor. Movistar Riders deciding to back off of this a bit and keep the bomb in safe base, since they have had some situations before where it just gets laid out in the middle and they can't really make anything run from it in the rounds that they did end up dropping over to Big so far in the second half. But there's Smooya with the op. Putting it to work as he likes to do. Again, great opportunity for them to save during that last round to make something like that possible.
Yeah, and then the 2 players, or 2 of the players that they need to step up with the rifles have managed to get them those openings. A minute left on the clock as the Ts have at least gained some middle control. Now you have to bear in mind there's 2 players still in the server. Well, Xantares has at least found a gun, but he doesn't have any armor, so there's still potential here for the Movistar Riders to take this home. And well, Alex is already going to get that opening pick. Xantares, he still doesn't have any armor. Bear that in mind. If he gets hit here, he'll be aim punched, and that's exactly what happens. Tabson as well, a little bit of a whiff from him. Easter peeks in, but it's going to be Seal to actually get the kill. Left into a 1 versus 2. Enough time to cross and get that bomb down. Just going to plant it in a safe space. And there's 2 players breathing down his neck to try and get back in for the retake. And
they're both funneling over from connector too, so Seal can just go ahead and try and wipe them from that same location. Gets about half the HP of Nex, but Nex is rotating over to his right side. Seal picks up 1. Nex finishes him off with plenty of time on this bomb clock for him to get the defuse.
That was way too close. That was way, way, way too close. 17 HP is all that's left for Nex, and well, that could have been a round again that Movistar Riders managed to clutch out. Even still, that's a good round for Big. Like, that wasn't even a full investment. They were saving extra money to buy into the next round, so the 3 players didn't even invest. This will be the best buy that we've seen from Big so far in this CT half by a country mile. The T's, however, do still have a lot of finances to repurchase into this one.
I do feel like it's been a while since we've seen full utility on the side of Big. So.
They haven't had it, like, except in the round where they had all the SMGs. So this is the first buy, full buy at least, that we've seen on their CT side the whole map.
Excited to see if they can make something work from it.
Oh dear. That's a lot of damage. Oh, okay, Next. This is aggressive, just peeks into the angle, but gets away with 2 kills.
A lot of commitment from the T side and hoping that they can overpower Big, but Nex is starting to really light up during this round. 2 frags to his name so far on the M4. And he's got some support from 2 fellow players onto this B site too, but Movistar Riders, because of that heavy impact right off the bat, have chosen to back off for the time being. It's all on Alex keeping his eyes over on that site as he will join Lowell to try and move this bomb in the opposite direction. Still over a minute left on the clock for them to make a play, but Big have spread themselves across this map.
Yeah, this is now getting into the scenario that we witnessed yesterday, where although Big had some troubles, had some struggles, they were very good at just grinding out the rounds. I think there is definitely some mental fortitude for this team, even though things aren't necessarily working out the way that they'd hope. Also, Easter has now started to slow down a bit. It's not really surprising going onto the T side, up over the CT side, also getting 20 kills and a half. There's a reason that you see that, I wouldn't say often in Counter-Strike, but way more often than seeing someone get 40 kills. It's very easy to do in one half, then you switch and maybe you slow down, you start getting in your own head a little bit, or you start looking and going, well, I got 20 kills, like, you know, someone else could do something here.
Yeah, you take your turn. I'm gonna pop a coffee or something, but...
They just decided to save. It looks like it, yeah? Just giving up the round. I think Big will take that all day long, especially because we finally see them get a 4-buy. Now they get a perfectly clean round. That's going to be great for them. Financially, they're going to be much more sound. They only have to rebuy utility going into the next. And it's fairly unusual to see 5 alive with pretty much no damage. Well, actually, exactly no damage done at all. At least for the T's, it means they can still buy into this round. So it works out for both, but I think Big are going to be very happy with that clean round.
Big connecting 2-round victories. Movistar Riders picked up the 3 prior to that, so maybe they're hoping they can follow up with something like that once more. But of course, those victories were against an ill-equipped Big, who, as he said, after not dropping anyone during that last round, walk into this one fully prepared for the ultimate battle. Movistar Riders choosing to split up their resources as well. The information attempts to be read over in mid.
Oh, this is just mean. They just keep throwing incendiaries into the boxes at the back, and the smokes have actually faded, so the T's are now kind of trapped in this position. Next, again, is looking to get a little bit aggressive. I imagine, I was hoping that would be an underarm throw. That would have been perfectly placed onto his opposition. He's got to be careful because Steel is just lurking around the corner. Taps and jump spotting might be a little bit of a bait, because if somebody peeks, they see him jump spotting, you're not going to expect Next to be that far forward, because he should be the one looking for the information. So Tabson is basically just playing a game of look at me, and then Next will be the one to get the kills.
That's what I want to see if that plan ends up making bloody floors over in the apartment. And there you go. This is exactly what they were trying to set up for. On that AK, picking up 2. Zentaris is able to get the cleanup as well over on the opposite side, and it's all on Alex, who's going to move through connector as Zentaris rotates over into the window position, but the bomb itself is all the way in the apartment, so there's no way that Alex is going to be able to get to that safely unless Big just decided to evacuate that entire half of the map as they attempt to search for the last remaining Movistar Riders.
Yeah, to win this round, he'd have had to start cheating. Like, that's the only way. Like, that was a 1 versus 5 where he was on the wrong side of the map, so we're now starting to see Big truly build into this matchup. You got the right players performing as well. I like the little setup they had in the apartments. I said that this was completely planned out by their side of things. Tabson knew exactly what he was doing, just baiting for his teammate. And then on the other side, Zontara is starting to get into the groove of being aggressive in middle. That's where teams really do start to struggle against this Big CT side, because he's been doing this for years. Everybody knows he does it, and they can't do anything about it.
If I'm Movistar Riders, I am getting nervous at this point. Because if you can at least get the round trades back and forth like they were at one point, then it's enough for them to walk away with a victory, but not when you're only working with the pistols. And Smooya already gets the double op shots right there. Steel picks one up with a deagle, but in the end, Big are fast and furious. Steel, another one for that deagle play, finding himself in the 1v2 once again, has the bomb on his back and is going to take the long way around and see if Nex and Tabson are able to read this effectively.
I just imagine in that moment, Sontares just starts going, no, I've still got bullets, and starts making the noises himself, like, pew, 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 pew. Just, please don't kill me.
Oh, man.
This is interesting from Steel. I don't know if he expects maybe someone to be at the top of mid, and thus was just trying to make sound of him running to B. He's actually going to double back, but he doesn't know how close his opponent is. Next, he's been bamboozled a little bit, and now with the man up in the park, it should be very easy in the end. Next, we'll get the kill. Still comes a little bit close. I really have been impressed by even just the individual level of Steel, because he's always been a decent fragger, but normally within the teams that he's in, he's not meant to be the star of the show. In a lot of the matches we've witnessed from them so far, he has been performing magnificently. It's actually some of the other players that we're looking at to step up. This time, he's had Easter, he's had Alex a lot of the way. Mopos even had a triple entry in one of the T rounds they managed to win, but they do need someone else. They need someone to perform in this scenario, otherwise things will start to slip. And I don't know at the moment with such a, well, relatively new roster if they'll have the mental fortitude to keep up with Big.
Luckily, because of that work that Steel was able to put in, Movistar Riders can come in with some more purchases and evening the board in that way, but Tabson is the first one to crack this open on the back of Nex's HE. The bullet starts raining down, Tabson just going for a little bit of a read, trying to gather some information, but Movistar Riders are slowing things down with their actual play for either of these sites. Not a full commitment, and they've gathered their remaining players over towards the spawn area.
Well, yeah, Big are using a lot of utility very early into the rounds just to make sure that any aggressive play that the Riders are attempting is just not going to pay off. And it means that they're forced into more of these slower default rounds where Big are able to get those early picks. Here comes their execution, however. Smoothie is still at the back of the site. A little bit of utility still to try and hold them back in this AWP, hoping for the pick, but Smoothie not going to connect. Needs to get his gun back out because they're getting a little bit closer, but they're being picked apart. Tizian finally steps up and leaves, well, just Alex alone, and they're going to hunt him down. Smooya with a couple coming up for him, and a much better round again from Big. They're looking to really build into this matchup, and it's starting to get very scary for the Spaniards.
A lot of their victories, especially in the first half, came down to not one person popping off and getting multiple kills in quick succession, but those trades back and forth. Every time someone from Movistar Riders ended up falling, they're able to get the answer. But when it comes down to just pure firepower and you're going for a typical execute in that way, it hasn't worked out, with Big starting to really get sparked up here. You can tell that they've gained their confidence in their shots and their execution as it's continuing with a lot more consistency, especially on players like Tabson, and everyone's starting to pull their weight over on Big side, which is something that Movistar Riders just haven't been able to see across all of their players.
Yeah, they've started to struggle on this T side. Even just finding opening kills has been really difficult for them. They've been losing a lot of these duels. They've also handed over 3 T rifles to the other side, which means that they don't even have the weapon advantage anymore. And we all know that giving an SG over to the CT side is basically signing your own death warrant here. Tizian, he's going to spot the majority of the players, and it means that they can rotate people into the situation. Tabson currently having the AWP just based off being a little bit lower on health. And while Big know exactly what's going on in this scenario, and this is just looking very, very easy for them.
Movistar Riders are just caught between a rock and a hard place. You got Smooya watching over from Cat. You've got Tizian over on the site, along with Tabson. Smooya is eventually taken out by that deagle. But nonetheless, Nex is still there to go ahead and occupy that territory. Big don't seem nervous whatsoever. Level with the shots trying to get rained down from above, but Big end up tying this up 13-13. Movistar Riders able to get some more weaponry for themselves, but again, I'd still be very nervous if I were them.
Yeah, this is more of what I expected to see, if I'm honest. This has been 6 rounds in a row for Big, all relatively clean. Next with $12,000, 6, 5, and 7 on Tabson, Smooya, and Zontares. Like, they are in a very good position now. This is what you get from a team that has a lot of experience, a team that you expect an awful lot from as well. So they're able to grind things back. And Movistar has said it's more of a team within its infancy, I suppose. I'm sure some of the core have been together for a while, but might not expect it. Something else they might not expect. Alex deep within the window.
Interesting indeed. Next picks it up onto Alex. So even though it wasn't expected, it still didn't work out for Movistar Riders. Got to commend them trying to switch up their strategies and seeing what they can make work, but they've been trying to get these last 3-round victories for quite some time now. And if they do commit over onto this B site, I can imagine that Big are still going to power through with that aggression. Not as many being over there, but the rest of them can rotate pretty effectively.
Well, the other thing as well, they've now got a double orb set up, which that's only ever going to make things worse. Like Tabson, he was actually a primary AWPer within this side for a while when Smooya was put to the bench. He did a damn good job, and Next as well. He's really stepped up in this second half. They do actually manage both kills, though, finally seeing a little bit of life out of Easter. Maybe there's an opportunity here.
Easter was probably the most awake person during the first portion of the first half. Maybe a little bit of a lull, but a little too late potentially if Big start to continue on with this. Movistar Riders getting the bomb plant though. This is still a tied up game, and when you're starting to build into this, if they can get this victory, then the damage in their bank won't be as impactful. But they have to get this one to really be able to set the tone, and Easter is trying to do his best to make that happen, but Xantares and Tizian have also been popping off quite effectively, so Big get the round number 14.
Yeah, good retake. He needed to get the ace in that round if they were going to steal that one away, which, well, it does show how testament to how good Easter has been. 29 kills for him at the moment. A big drop-off for anybody else. 10 kills behind currently on his team. That is now going to be the lead taken from Big. Momentum firmly in their favor. The T's can go for a buy. They can even get the AWP back into play as well in this round, but they're going to take a pause beforehand. I think this may just be one of the moments where they need to try and calm the nerves, because you were so far in the lead. Like, how many rounds in a row is that now? That is 7 rounds in a row for Big. So you have let a lead of 13-7 slip away. Like, this is going to be tilting. This is going to be frustrating. And you need that moment, even if you're not coming up with a specific strategy, just to go, okay, guys, we've already been playing well in this matchup. Let's try and get back to that. Let's calm it down. Go for a more of an execute-heavy setup. Try and take a bit more of a battle. Get our confidence back. And Xantares as well, he's trying to shut them down straight away. I thought he was just going to keep running up mid for a second.
It really did look like it, saying surprise everybody, but luckily he was switching up his positioning after that. Movistar Riders were also able to string together 7-round victories when they were on the CT side, but nothing in comparison to that once they moved over to the Ts. Hopefully that pause was enough for them to get their minds calm, cool, and collected. But Big themselves also seem just as calm and tranquil, as they are 2 rounds away from victory here. And the way these past duels have been going, Big don't seem to have any confidence lost upon them.
A much slower round coming out from Movistar. You can see they're trying to be patient, waiting for the aggression that has been coming out from Big, and very successful as well. I think this is the first time we've not seen them lose like a couple of players like early on.
Maybe with the numbers being evens, they can start to repeat some of the firepower strategies earlier on the first half, because it wasn't necessarily the positioning, it was those 1v1s. Tabson, though, as soon as he sees Easter crossing over in that passageway, punishes him for that. It's still evened up, though, just 3-3. The ops off the table for Big, and Movistar Riders moving in with their Kriegs directly onto the site, but Xantares is here too, knows the bomb is there, and now Lowell can try to get up here, because Tizian, he's going to take some time to rotate through those B apartments.
And he has to slow it down as well. That's the problem. Like, he doesn't want to give away his position. Bomb is going to be planted into the 1 versus 2. The best opportunity we've seen from the Spaniards in a long, long time. Alex in the wrong direction, so there's a possibility here. I think Low has him covered, or at least hopes he does, but there's so many angles to check that they have to be a little bit careful, and I like the fact that Alex has now fallen into a position where he can't really be spotted. He gets the information and hits the headshot at that. It takes them a pause, it takes them some time, but they're going to equalize things once again. Of course, as mentioned already, the CT side have a big bank to buy on.
Movistar Riders perform a lot better when they have a kind of in-round moments to collect themselves in those slower pace, it seems.
I think as well, just the setup from Big in that round was one that was unlucky timing. Like they've doubled up on the B side very often within this match, and that round they only had 1 player. So the single kill came in, and that was pretty much the round done. It was actually quite well performed, I suppose, by Tabson to actually fight that back from the ladder room to even make that close. So obviously props have to be given to Movistar Riders. It was the right call. They did well in the after plant. But at the same time, you still have to say, if there was 2 players there, maybe it could have been a different story.
After the slowdown during that round, we're getting a bit more of a slow pace here in round number 29 too. Movistar Riders do have plenty of utility for them, so they're just trying to clear out mid, where we saw a lot of action during the earlier portion of this second half. But there's no reason for them to run in when both of these teams are 2 rounds away from the ultimate map victory. Still double op setup for Big too. So Tabson and Smooya gonna try to be controlling that as much as they can. Zentaris has been smoked off over in window and starts to shoot through the smoke, but it does eventually clear out. Will Movistar Riders try to make a play from it? Tabson takes out Easter, so that firepower is gone through the corner of this wall. Some shots do find themselves, but Zentaris gets the final word in that duel out. Steel and the Lowell, the ones to stand here on the A site. But there's a CT. Tizian gets cleared off of it, so it's all on Nex and Tabson to try to rotate in through Connector. But there's still some utility available to Movistar Riders that they fully connect with. The 1v1 is happening. Lowell gets taken out. Tabson with the finish off, and boom, baby, 3 frags to his name. That's how you finish off with some style.
I love it. He's cheering to the crowd as well. They know that they've got the crowd firmly against them in this scenario. Again, it comes very close. Like, Steel seems so good in these clutch situations that I feel like he was a little bit unlucky there after getting shot through the box. Tabson gets his 30th kill of the game and actually overtakes Easter, who has had a real slowdown into this second half. Of course, both teams will have a bye. It is still an opportunity here, and actually, again, we're going to have a bit more of a gamble into mid and B, which means that this A site only has Tizian on it.
Oh, it all comes down to this round. Movistar's crack it open. They're trying to send this into overtime, everyone, because it is round number 30. But Zentaris, if you know him, he's going to try and get the answer. Unfortunately, Mopaz just sees him, says, hey, you're looking in the other direction. I am looking straight at you. Big down to 2 on their opposite side, and Movistar Riders are feeling confident with the way that they have set this up. Bomb planted over on A. No rotation just yet from Big, as Nex and Smooya are going to have a difficult time going into this. Smooya was already down into the single digits of HP and was punished for it. So Nex ends up getting back over at Alex, but it's the 1v3 situation. Attempts to move in from Connector, and there you have it. Movistar Riders tying this up and sending it into overtime.
Again, it actually comes, like, there's a couple of rounds, although Mopaz is at the bottom of the board, that he has single-handedly won for his team. And that was a great entry coming into short. He quickly realizes there's only one player there and makes the run all the way through B to then catch another player in the connector. He gives so much space to the rest of his team, and well, I think that's one of those defining moments within the match, because that puts them to overtime. That gives them an opportunity here. And as I said, it's like he's bottom of the board at the moment for his team. He's not having the best of games, but that is the one round that could not only, well, give them a chance, but also maybe spark him to life.
It just shows that you can contribute to the victory in many ways, right? You don't have to be the one that's top fragging, top of the server. If you're executing in a way that benefits your strategy, that's all you need for the team. As now we set into overtime. It will still be over on the CT side for the first half, though, and that's definitely fared better for both of these teams.
Smooya getting caught out, a little bit aggressive in middle. It's going to be Zentaris actually looking to try and find that trade back, but he's got to be careful because Mopaz is sat in mid ready and waiting. The AWP down on the ground, and again, they're going to be heading in towards this B side by the looks of things. 2 players already going to be there for the CT side. They have had to double it up because we saw previously when they did only have 1 player there, they got taken down fairly easily. Next, going to be throwing out utility to try and cancel the push, but the T's, they're just making their run forward.
And her positioning and rotates under, tries to get the shot through, but Alex gets the double. And Movistar Riders, even though Alex has been brought down to 4, they've got many more available to them. Mopaz is still gonna keep his eyes over on that mid site and might end up running into Tizian eventually, but he's just gonna keep holding on into Connector. All the action going over on B. The retake can be attempted. Zentaris really great at finding those kind of extremity players that are watching onto the site. And now it's the 2v3.
They weren't going for that, but that kill in middle actually gives them some extra life in this retake. chance is still very slim. The crossfire should be good enough, and it will be. They get shut down in the end. I can understand the attempt from Big, though. Once you get it to that close a situation, you really want to give that round a go. Of course, there's only 3 rounds on either side, and considering Movistar were actually very good on their CT side, you want to take away as many of the rounds on your better side as well.
Commend the effort for sure. Difficult to rotate over from Cat when there were 2 watching in that way. Of course, not knowing what he was going to be running into. And now going into this next one, 16-15 in favor of Movistar Riders. And lots of money in the bank for both sides. Should be able to make this interesting.
Yeah, I wonder if they're going to invest into a double AWP setup again. It was something that they were trying to bring in towards the end of the CT half, but I don't think it was overly successful. I actually think Tabson was having a much better time when he just had the rifle in his hand. Of course, there was that penultimate round where he gets the couple of kills on the cross with the AWP, so it's arguable either way, but he is just going to stick to the rifle this time. And well, on the T side, we do have Easter back on his AWP. Though on the T side, he's not been the man to watch. There's been so many other players starting to step up. I said Mopos with some high impact frags, and it really is looking like Movistar Riders are all here to play. But just as I criticize him, he's going to get that opening pick onto Tabson, someone who they've struggled to deal with. Easter going to be forced forward into that open position. Smoke going to be going down. Next has to be careful. If he goes down, there really isn't much of a defense here. Although there is going to be a full rotation. And look at the bomb still sat on ramp A. So there's no dedication to this. They're just letting Easter roam free.
Know if he's going to be able to pick that up. I was just thinking for so long it's been locked on at 29, but Next does end up finding Easter, sets him to keep him at 30 kills for the time being. On the other portion of the map, though, Movistar Riders are moving in towards this A site as they have cleared it of any CTs. Plenty of utility for them to block off all the entryways, and they are going to do just that. Bomb moving in. Well, Smooya's gone away too. There's another one onto Zentars, and suddenly it's the 3v1, and Movistar Riders have spread themselves across this site. Take out Big, put this to 17 for themselves, and they're feeling pretty good about it.
Yeah, considering they got, what, just about 5 rounds in their T-side half. The fact that they've now just managed to get 2 in a row, the bait that was thrown in by Easter on the AWP was absolutely perfect. He only gets 1 kill, but what he does is you throw your AWP into a site. Like, if I'm the CT side, I'm going, oh, they'll probably push it this way because that's mental. And they'd fully rotated. There was only 1 player on the site. It was Tizzy in an aggressive position. He's not had a particularly good game, and he gets taken out just the same as Zontaras in this round. Over Smooya, he's done a lot of damage. Not only tagging up low, but getting a kill. Mopos also dinged. They're going to need a hero here, and Steele's attempting to be that man.
Big have re-elected to go for that double op setup, and both of them picking up 1 so far, but Tabson has been made weak in the knees at 39 HP. Movistar Riders and Big both with 3 up currently. Smooya moves up the steps, but can't find it over in Palace just yet. So he backs off. He walks directly into his face for the double frag, cleans it up, and Movistar Riders bring this to game point to try and put this map away.
Honestly, when I first saw Steele went over to this roster, I was very confused. I was like, I don't know what's happened here. Like, it's a Brazilian joining a full Spanish team. This man is looking sick. Like, he has been playing so well individually. There's been some decent calls coming in as well by the looks of things from their T side, like switching up fakes and throwing in things that have definitely caught out Big. And now their CT side, the prominent of the 2, the side they've been better on, they need 1 round out of 3 to take their opponent's map choice. A map where, as said, we've seen 7 out of the last 8 matches won by Big. An 85% win rate on it, one that we thought was a surefire win for their side. Well, the Spanish once again, they need just 1 round to close this out.
My, oh my. And considering their performance on the CT side earlier on this map, I feel like they got to be feeling like, okay, I think we can walk away with 1 more. Big have a lot of pressure on their shoulders. When you think about the individual standards for teams, our Des was talking about the fact that Big have expectations not just to move on and avoid being the first to be knocked out here today, but potentially win it and prove that they're still a major contender despite some of the struggles that they've been having, not just yesterday, but within recent matches.
Yeah, well, as said, if they were the first team out of this tournament, that would be a bitter failure for them. Like, that would be unacceptable. for a team, as said, that will have higher standards, not only by their fans, not only by their organization, but by themselves. Like, there's no way they would be expecting to finish last in a DreamHack Open event, being knocked out, even if it is by the hometown heroes. Like, that's not good enough for them. So they're going to have to channel something here. They only need 3 rounds on this side, which doesn't sound like a huge amount, but when it's 3 out of 3, and the CT side has been better for Movistar Riders, it is going to be a little bit tougher. But they've had a pause, they've had some time to talk, and well, they're going to come back in with whatever they desire. They're going to have to just fall by and buy anything to try and steal these rounds away.
With potentially only 1 more round to go, it'll be interesting to see if Big switch up their T-side strategy, but once again, they moved over towards the B apartment.
Will they ever go A?
No A, Jose. As they are moving with all the utility, a couple planted over for Movistar Riders. They were fearing that the strategy would be switched up, but now that they've read the situation, they are committing themselves over onto the B site, even rotating it in with Tizian to try and join the rest through Market. Tabson picks it up. There's the planted bomb for Big, but they're down to 2. They are outnumbered currently by the CT side. Now it's all on Tizian. Tizian, you have to be able to keep this round for yourself, or else Big could be sent away in this map. And Movistar Riders get the defuse, get the round, get the overtime, and get map number 1 in this best of 3, putting themselves in a true contending situation to push Big out of this tournament.
Steel is a god. He just walked into a site and got 3 kills in a retake. The Brazilian has come to Spain and he has made this team look very exciting indeed. They have just upset on a map, as said, that we were thinking was a surefire victory for Big. They now go into their own map choice, which was much more up in the air in general. And yeah, what a sick performance from them. They had everything. They had the early start, they had great AWPing, they had individual plays, they had the openings towards the end, and then they even fixed their T side going into overtime and ground out a match which was looking like they went from what, 13-7 to losing 14-13 to then take it to overtime and win. Like, mental resilience, like there's nothing that they didn't have in this matchup, and what a sick performance from them overall.
Yep, crazy to think that it wasn't just something that happened in the last round, it's something we saw throughout their performance here on the first map. But this is a best of 3, so when we return, we'll be heading into train territory, so don't go anywhere.